Hey everyone, and welcome to Season 10 of the Choose UCalgary Podcast. I'm Prithul, your host this season, a third-year student in the Haskell School of Business, and a new co-op student with the undergraduate recruitment team. If you're thinking about joining UCalgary, you're in the right place. Each episode will dive into student life at UCalgary, chat with current students, and explore everything from faculties to campus resources. It's all about giving you a real feel for the UCalgary experience. Let's get started! I would like to take this opportunity to acknowledge the traditional territories of the peoples of the Treaty 7 region in southern Alberta, and acknowledge that the city of Calgary is also home to the Métis Nation of Alberta, Districts 5 and 6. As someone who moved to Calgary from abroad, I've developed a deep sense of gratitude for the opportunity to live, study, and connect with new friends and colleagues on the lands of the Blackfoot Confederacy, the Tsuut'ina First Nation, and the Stoney Nakoda Nations. It's important to remember that everything we do here at the University of Calgary, including podcast recordings, starts with these lands. Please keep this in mind as you listen to this podcast. Welcome back to the Choose UCalgary Podcast. This episode is all about awards, scholarships, and bursaries for our incoming students. Today I'm joined by Joel Dooley-May, the Assistant Registrar for Student Financial Support here at the University of Calgary. Joel, thank you for joining us.
Thanks for having me here. I'm excited to have this conversation with you.
Yeah, me as well. So to start off, could you introduce yourself and share a bit about your role, a bit more than what I've already shared, and how your team supports prospective UCalgary students when it comes to awards and scholarships?
Sure. So my role is leading a team that looks after financial support for all undergraduate students. So that's merit-based funding, so that's scholarships where the selection is primarily based on academic merit. But we also do the administration for all of our bursaries. So those are awards that are selected primarily based on financial need. But my team also administers all financial aid for domestic students, so Canadian students from provinces and territories, as well as financial aid for U.S. students. We are a Title IV school that we have the ability to support with direct loans from the U.S. My team also administers our emergency funding for the institution. So we can support students who have an emergent or unforeseen need. And then lastly, my team also looks after our financial literacy program here at the university called Money Smart.
Yeah, I know you guys have some cool badges there. I'm hoping to earn some of them soon. But yeah, that's a wide range of services that you are working with. So we'll get into the awards section since we are primarily catering this episode to our prospective students who may be interested in our scholarships and awards. So UCalgary has so many different kinds of awards. There's the entrance ones, bursaries, continuing awards. Could you give us a brief overview of the range of awards that we have available for students?
Sure. So this last year in 24-25, we gave out just about $23 million in award scholarships and bursaries to undergraduate students. And it really depends on the kind of journey that the student's going in. So for prospective students, which are most of our listeners are, we have really three different categories that the students would be looking at for when it comes to award scholarships and bursaries. We have our automatic admission scholarships, which is our President's Admission Scholarship of $5,000. So any student who has an admissions average of 95% or greater will automatically get that. Then we have our high school prestige awards, and those are for our high achieving students that are 90% or above. The students do have to apply, so it is competitive. And the application is primarily based on essay type questions. So it does take some time and commitment to actually complete that application. And then lastly, we have our high school awards, which has the largest grouping or amount of awards, 200 plus are in that award competition or awards application. And the application is quite straightforward. It takes about 15 minutes to complete. So it's a lot of yes or no or just fill in the blank questions. So the best thing for students or prospective students when they're thinking of coming here at the university is make sure to apply, right? So
that's a wide range of awards, and there's a little something for everyone. And there's the automated ones as well, which is so cool. You don't even have to, you just have to submit in your application and you'll be considered for some.
Mm-hmm.
So we often get questions from high school students early on about how to set themselves up for success in receiving these scholarships or awards. What would you recommend, whether it's grades, leadership, or community impact, anything that stands out to you guys when you're evaluating the applications?
I think it really is dependent. I think we look for a complete student here at the University of Calgary. So what a student really needs to do, especially when it comes to our prestige awards, is grades are one thing, but there's not much of a variance between somebody who's 90% and 100% for an admissions average. So we need to know what sets them apart from everyone else. So my recommendation when I do our workshops is that look at the student beside you and can you define how you're better than that student? So it's a little bit egotistical in a way, but it's really just setting them up to really explain the differences and what sets them apart from other students. So, and with that being said, we look at, okay, how can you make our campus community better? So what are you doing right now in your high school or in your community that you could bring to our campus community and really expand on what you're currently doing? And we really want to know, and this is something I'll stress multiple times, is we want to know what that impact is. So we want to know, does it have a profound impact on yourself and what type of impact it has on those around you? So as an entrepreneurial institution, we're looking at innovation and using critical thinking and really expanding and making things better for others around you as well as yourself. So really focusing on that when you're actually responding to any of the questions in an application.
That is so cool. It's not all about grades for those listening. It's also about your social impact, but however, as long as it's impactful to even an individual, that's something we would consider. So as a prospective student, how do our students who are applying right now figure out which awards they're eligible for? And especially for international students, what are some awards that are available to them?
Sure, we do. International students are always an interesting population because most of the time the students that we talk to anyways are looking for specific awards that are just for international students. What sets us apart from a lot of institutions is that the majority of our awards don't define who it's for, right? So it doesn't say you need to be a Canadian or permanent resident or protected persons in Canada, and it doesn't say you need to be an international student. So the majority of our awards are open for anyone. We do have specific awards for international students. We have our International Entrance Scholarship and our International Entrance Award. The International Entrance Scholarship is $80,000, so it's $20,000 per year for 4 years. It's part of our Prestige Award application. Same with our Entrance Award, which is $20,000, but it's a one-time $20,000 in your first year. So those are our higher dollar value ones for international students, but international students can apply for everything else. When it comes to similar institutions in Canada, we are the only U15 school, so research-intensive institution that gives bursaries to international students in their first year. Everybody waits until their second, third, and fourth year before they actually give them out. So it's a little bit different here.
Those are some big money values. $80,000 would cover almost the majority of a lot of degrees. Mm-hmm. So yeah, international students, those who are listening, maybe do apply to that. Applications open up October 1st, and you can apply till December 1st for some of the bigger ones. So yeah, kind of in that same vein of eligibility, there's a lot of concern among students who think that maybe they're not competitive enough, or what even is the point of applying if I might not get it. Mm-hmm. What is one advice you'd give to such students who are maybe doubting themselves a bit or maybe are a bit demotivated from applying?
Well, the thing is you need just apply, right? So I can't stress that enough. It's here at the University of Calgary anyways, one application makes you eligible for multiple different awards with multiple different eligibility criteria. So it could be primarily based on merit, but it could also be based on financial need or things you're doing in the community. It could be that you're part of a group or something like that, or you're from an area or a high school, or there's multiple different eligibility requirements that aren't just academic merit. So when students here at the university are looking at some sort of financial support, the best thing to do is apply. I think it's Gretzky who had a quote that you miss 100% of the shots you don't take. So you're never going to get it if you don't.
So just apply. You either get some money or maybe you get it later when you apply for more bursaries or continuing awards. Ever wondered what your future at UCalgary could look like? On October 25th, we are opening our doors for Open House 2025. Meet current students, explore programs, and check out more than 40 faculties and services that are here to support your journey. From interactive discovery sessions to campus and residence tours, it's the best way to see what life at UCalgary is all about. Register today at ucalgary.ca/open house. Kind of somewhat in that vein, impacts and numbers, a lot of the convincing points for students when it comes to applying are the number of awards that we give, or like the dollar value of it. You spoke about it to some extent, but how many incoming high school students typically receive an award or a scholarship? So like for entrance level, how many are there? For like continuing students, how many are there? And on an average, how much fund? Oh, no, you answered that already.
Yeah, it really varies each year. So on average, we give out between 1,000 to 1,500 different awards. That's individual students who receive awards for entering. And the dollar value ranges anywhere between $5 million and $6 million. So when I talked earlier about giving about $23 million out this past year, it works out about $6 million for entering students, and then the rest is for second, third, and fourth year students. So the big thing too is with entering students, if you apply and don't receive anything, that doesn't mean you're not going to receive anything in second year or third year or fourth year or fifth year, right? So you can continue applying each year to our continuing student awards or our bursary application or multiple different other opportunities as well. So I hope that answered the question.
Yeah, that definitely does. Okay, so there are some concerns about renewal and stacking awards as well.
Mm-hmm.
Are there awards that students can renew beyond the first year? You spoke a bit about the international one that students get throughout the course of their 4 years, but also, can students stack multiple awards, or is there usually maybe a limit?
We do have a policy here at the University of equitable distribution, so we're trying to spread as many scholarships to as many students as we possibly can. That doesn't mean things can't be stacked, though, to a maximum dollar value, right? So we try to follow Alberta Student Aid when it comes to the maximum dollar value a single individual can have, and that's just over $17,000. But we have, like, our automatic admission scholarships, those can be stackable on anything. So a student can have the International Entrance Scholarship, which is $20,000 per year over 4 years, and get another $5,000 on top of that. That's not a big deal. We try to make sure we can support the students we can and spread it as much as we can, right? So, things are stackable. We have multiple different awards that are renewable too. So the majority of our prestige awards are renewable. We have other bursaries and scholarships in the high school awards application that are renewable as well. That portfolio of renewable awards is expanding all the time too. So,
resources within limits. Everyone gets to have some. Speaking of support and resources, see, application processes, or for a high school student who's just starting to apply to universities and awards, it can be a bit of an overwhelming process. So if a student is overwhelmed by the process or thinks that they're maybe not competitive enough, what resources does UCalgary maybe have to help them with the awards applications?
Yeah, my team is always willing and able to help. So they can reach out to either enrollment services or my team directly. But I also recommend that I offer different workshops throughout the fall as well to actually go to future students and actually look at the events and resources there, and they can ask specific questions to me, because I really do a great deep dive on our applications. I go question by question so they exactly know what to complete. The big tips that I always advise students regardless is, especially when it comes to a prestigious award application or any award application that requires essays, is that students start creating a database, right? So one question from our award application might be applicable to an external award that they might be applying for, or another institution they're applying for as well, right? So,
yeah, that's pretty cool. So we're kind of nearing the end of this podcast episode. I have a couple more relatively fun questions,
Sure.
less technical ones. One is that, do you have any stories that you could share of a student who really benefited from receiving an award?
Sure. I have a couple. One could be, we had a student who received a Schulich Leader Scholarship multiple years ago. And by doing that, she had the opportunity to do a internship with Garmin. And then that led to her actually becoming a Rhodes Scholar and going to Oxford and studying in graduate school at Oxford. I haven't checked in on her in a few years, but that's a good example of it. Other examples that students receiving awards, it has an impact because a lot of students now don't need to work, and they have the opportunity to do other things like research. And we see that all the time, that students come back and say, I'd never have the opportunity to do this work integrated learning or this study abroad or this research opportunity without having some sort of funding from the university. So
yeah. And even like being around students, I can attest to that. One of my friends just came back from a study abroad program in Singapore, and she was able to do so because the university funded that whole trip for her. So that was pretty cool. I got some postcards out of it. I'm happy enough. Another relatively fun question. What's one myth about scholarships you wish students knew the truth about?
I think the biggest myth is that I am not worthy of it, or I'm not eligible for it. So if you're applying for one specific that has such a narrow eligibility criteria listed, then maybe not. But for awards that we have, when it's a large grouping of awards, we try to fit the best student for the best award, right? So the best thing I can always recommend is apply. It takes a little bit of your time, but the reward is so great that little time isn't going to hurt you. Plus, the more times you apply, the better understanding you get of the application process, right? I know it's daunting and scary to begin with, but you just have to do it. You have to take that first step, right? When you're 13 months old, when you learn to walk, you got to take one step, right? And then you start being able to walk, right? So that's a big thing. The other myth that is really not true is sometimes I hear, or the media says, that there's all of these scholarships that don't go out to students. That doesn't happen here at the University of Calgary. We give out 99% of our award scholarships and bursaries. We try to spend every dime we possibly can. It's more the external organizations that provide scholarships and awards that might not get the applicant volume. So,
yeah, that's so cool. One final question. If you had to give students 3 quick rapid-fire tips for being scholarship ready, what would they be?
Sure. Big things are be active in what you do. Doesn't matter if it's volunteering, it's community service, it's the work that you do in your part-time job, it's the work at home. Just be active and be able to define that activity. So that's one. Number 2 is impact. Always impact. Like, what is the impact it has on you? What kind of profound impact it has on you? And then the last piece is, and it's not just our application, but it'll be other applications. What hurdles have you overcome, right? So have you ever faced any adversity in your life, and how did you overcome that, and what was the impact it had on you through going through that, right? And that could be anything, and nothing is too trivial too. So some students might think that, okay, I need to have this major crisis that happens with me, and then how I overcame that. That's not always the case. Not everyone goes through a crisis like that. No one. But there's always little road bumps in your life, little hurdles you got to jump through. What are those, and what impact do they have on how you progress in your life right now, right?
Absolutely. So nothing's too small. Just be yourself and apply. And there's a good chance that you'll get it, because we have $23 million to spend. So, all right, Joel, that is all the questions I had for you today. Thank you so much for joining me. And for any prospective or current students listening, you can find more information about awards, scholarships, and bursaries at ucalgary.ca/awards. And otherwise, stay tuned to learn more about all things that prospective students need to know about. And thank you for joining me.
Thanks. Okay. Thanks for having me.
Yeah. Thank you for listening to another episode of Season 10 of the Choose UCalgary podcast. Remember to follow us on Instagram at choose.ucalgary and Facebook at UCalgaryFS to stay up to date on all things UCalgary for future students. DM if you have any questions, and stay tuned for the next episode. A huge shout out to Shulik Soundstage, a student-led music club right here on campus, for producing the amazing music you've heard throughout this episode. It's just one example of the incredible creativity and talent you'll find at UCalgary.